We are maybe live? All right, there we go. Now I'm live. All right, so welcome to this week's live stream. Thank you for joining me. I'm Ashley Stuart, and today I'm going to be talking about basically how work affects me. And this is something today that you're never going to hear me talk about except for on here. Like, if you were to ask me, I'm going to say I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very thankful to be able to be in this position, which I really am. But I have some trade offs that I deal with because of still dealing with the effects of migraines, still dealing with the fact that I have to deal with fatigue. I still deal with a certain level of fatigue. It's nowhere near as bad as what it used to be, but it's still a thing. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. But before I get too far, I do want to get into today's the video intro. All right, it looks like we are back. So I don't think before we get into today's topic that I have much housekeeping to do. My suggestion is make sure you check out last week's video. It was not a live stream, but I shared my experience with the meditation retreat that I went on, which is why I haven't done a video in a while. And I wanted to give myself a lot of rest before I went back to work because I had a little bit of a strange transition back into my shifts. So I ended up working yesterday, and so it makes the week a little weird, and I don't actually get a full weekend when that happens. So I have to prioritize my rest, which I'm going to get into in today's video a little bit more in depth, but that's why there wasn't a live stream, and it's just a matter of me prioritizing what comes first, basically, in order to make sure that I essentially have enough energy to do everything that I want to do and have to do in a week. So that's that. So getting into today's topic, I am so thankful to be able to work pretty much full time now, but dang, it takes so much out of me to do so. This is what I had this titled as, and I actually sat and wrote this outline last night because I was really feeling it, and honestly today I am too. So not only am I like a little bit mentally tired for some reason, I'm very physically tired as well. So I'm doing this stream in the morning because number one, the Grey Cup is on this afternoon. But number two, I'm doing the stream this morning because I wanted to make sure I had enough energy to do it. I have gone almost, I think, a full month without a stream now. So I wanted to make sure that I actually had the energy to do one today. So that being said, I may be able to work full time now, but it takes absolutely everything out of me to do so. That means that I don't have much of an active life outside of work. So I basically get up, go to work. I basically get up, go to work the 8 hours usually. There's only one day that I have 6 hours because, like I said, I'm almost full time. And then come home and essentially just watch YouTube and make sure that I'm doing stuff to rest. And actually, so about my workouts. So a lot of times with IIH, the workouts were so that I was in a calorie deficit and was losing weight. Now the workouts are more so that I'm actually getting in a good, decent amount of shape. And I find that the better shape I'm in, the better I'm able to handle some of these more physically challenging tasks that I have. And it's a lot harder than people think to manage it. And when you're not feeling 100% for whatever reason, it can be really, really difficult to manage these more physical things. I also need a lot of sorry. I also need a lot of rest to maintain this. And so many don't see this. So I'm not going to bed at 9:30 every night because I really want to, although it does seem to be my ideal time. It's that I need that really, really decent amount of rest in order to be able to function. Now, I am able to get away with like 1 or 2 days of very little sleep, but it just basically snowballs into the next day, basically. So if I go with too little rest or I'm not resting enough, it just creates a further feedback loop. It's almost like the feedback loop that I talk about with the it's almost like the feedback loop that I talk about with the one photo that I have. So like this photo here with the transitioning is exactly almost what happens when you don't rest enough. So this overdoing it leads to symptoms, unable to do anything, and then the next good day you like essentially repeat the cycle. But when you're fatigued, it's like you overdo it in that case. But yeah, that's one of the photos that I think really, really applies. But the thing is, when you have a chronic illness, you're overdoing it. Could be like you did a workout and then you went out for dinner or you went out for lunch with a friend. Like it takes almost nothing when you're at a really, really hard point in a flare up to do absolutely anything. And now, like, I have the energy to do all of these things, but it's a matter of sometimes you need to prioritize what you're going to actually be doing because you may not actually have the energy to do everything that you want to do. It's really difficult to explain to people who don't see me constantly what this is like because they're really only seeing me. And then I'm not really talking about this particular part of my life either. Like, I often say this, but I don't ever complain about this, except for like on my awareness type channels. And it's more so that this is kind of out there, and to say like things aren't perfect all the time. But I'm honestly not complaining because I'm living the life that I wanted to just a couple short years ago. Like, all I ever wanted was to be able to work full time and still manage to have a life to a certain point. Now, I'm going to be limited on this as it is because I'm very introverted, which means that I need my time alone as it is. Like, some of this is not, I just don't have the energy. Some of this really is that I zap my social battery, basically. So, you know how I talk about the battery analogy with having a chronic illness where you wake up and you may not have a full battery. It's like an iPhone that is reaching the end of its life, essentially. So you charge it up and then it may only reach 80-85% of what its health was originally. And then not only that, but your battery drains faster. And it's not only like that when you're an introvert with just general social engagements, but your physical energy that you have to put into these other events just isn't there when you have a chronic illness. And it's about prioritizing and managing this so that you can do the things that you have set a priority to do. And honestly, like, if chronic illness has taught me anything, it's how to set priorities and how to set priorities in the things that truly matter. Like, if I'm spending time doing something when I'm having a bad day, it's because it truly means the world to me. Now, I am very thankful again about work that I'm able to do it. But what people don't really understand is that I don't hate my job. I absolutely love it. It doesn't feel like work when I'm there. Like, being a cashier, it did to a certain degree. But now that I'm in the pharmacy where I work, it's honestly like, I can't describe it to people, but a lot of people say, oh, I can't wait until 5 or 6 o'clock when I get to go home. And I'm just like, I'm happy either way. Like, it is a very, very nice place to be in, that I am not dreading the time where I'm at work, and I'm not dreading the time where I'm at home. And like, when I start to get physically tired or mentally tired, it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of getting to the point where it would be nice if I could have a rest. But most of the time, I am able to take frequent enough breaks that this really isn't a problem. And I'm very thankful that I work in a place that's like that. I'm not sure if I worked in a place that wasn't like that, I would feel the same way. But the point is that right now I'm in a place where I can manage to have the life that I have, and I'm very thankful for that. And like I said, I am very, very happy that this is where I'm at, because I didn't think it was possible a couple of years ago. And actually, I started out, so I was part-time basically. And when my hours got moved up as much as they did, like, I was, number one, really thankful. But number two, I was like, I hope I can handle this, because you honestly don't know until you are in that situation, and in that situation for long enough where you're kind of getting the idea of what the routine will be like, whether you know whether you can handle it. And I'm at that point now where the answer is yes, and I'm very thankful for that. Getting into the next section here, a full day of work can also result in me feeling very achy. I feel that way today, actually, and it's because I was doing a little bit more physical things yesterday than what I'm used to. Along with that, I just came off of 2 weeks of holidays and sitting down most of the time because I was at a meditation retreat. Now, it was a lot more active than what you would expect, because like, the campus was quite large, so there was a lot of walking. Like, I did more walking that week than I do in a normal work day, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. But, you know, you start to feel it a little bit more too at certain times of the month and at certain periods in the cycle, particularly with me, because I'm on the Aimovig. Like, when I start to get close to needing another dose of the Aimovig, I do start to feel it a little bit more. But because I've been on it for so long, it's less than what it is at the start. So, like, it's hard to explain, but I honestly think the Aimovig gets better with time. But, this definitely, I do start to feel it when I'm closer to needing another dose. And right now, I'm still not too close to needing another dose, but there can be other things that affect it, like how much physical activity I'm doing and all of that. So, it can be an issue whether or not you're close to another dose. Again, besides here, you're not likely to hear me say anything about this achiness. I may say something if I'm really, really sore, but it's usually not too much of an issue. And honestly, like, it may sound counterintuitive, but I may end up doing a workout later just because it does release the muscles a little bit. I haven't decided yet because I'm pretty tired. Like, I'm actually feeling quite tired today, but we'll see how it goes. And, there are just some ways that I have to managing this issue, and it's come with time, basically. You got to find out what works for you and then stick with it once you find out what works. And unfortunately, because it's like trial and error, it's difficult for me to explain how you find this. It's just a matter of you end up learning the hard way, basically, at the start, and then taking it from there. And it's not unbearable, it's just noticeable. Meditation, though, has also helped me understand how to really dive into this pain and what it is, though. So when I'm doing my meditation stuff, it's not only to deal with the chronic pain, like the reason why I started it was to help with chronic pain management. And also because my mind was like a bouncy ball, basically, and in a room. Like, you know how you throw a bouncy ball against a room and it'll be like boing, 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 boing everywhere? Well, that's essentially what was happening with me. And I actually ended up breaking my ankle I think it was 2019. It must have been, because that's when I started meditating. Right before I actually started my meditation practice. And I actually started it to try and reduce that monkey mind a little bit. It took a few months, and I mean, there's still times where it's like boing, boing, boing. It depends on what is going on in my life, but I started that meditation the meditation practice for that reason. And now I do it to help with chronic pain management, as well as, living in the present moment, because when you really dive into the present moment, you find out everything's truly okay. So, like, it's kind of weird actually to talk about this stuff, because I am talking about a lot of this in the past and not in the now moment now, because it's like, oh, back in this year, I was at my worst. So I gotta like explain what it was like at my worst, because now there's a lot of times where I'm not struggling, and which is honestly a dream. Like, it's a dream for people to reach that point. You feel like you take such a deep dive into the valley, and then coming back out the other side, it seems like everything is basically a win and a triumph. It's so nice actually to have that. And then you get comfortable and you're like, I don't like this comfort. Like, it seems like everything needs to be a struggle, but at some point you reach a point, at least with me, I've reached this point where I'm actually quite comfortable most of the time. There are some times when I struggle, but it's really weird to have that after so much struggle, basically. Okay. A full day of work means that I will need to rest when I'm at home. Excuse me, I just need to... My nose was itchy. Sorry about that. This is why video content has been spotty the past few months, and why you won't find me out with a group of people. This is why video content has been spotty in the past few months, and why you won't find me out with a group of people after a full day of work. So I just want to say before I go on, I may be a little bit word salady with my words today because of the fact that I am tired. When I get tired, I tend to have that problem. It can be just my brain is going faster than what I feel like in the moment, but it can also be a sign that I am having a little bit of a rough day, and I feel very, very tired. So that's a thing. I knew I probably would today, but I feel like I'm feeling it more than what I should be. It does help though for diving into what I want to talk about, but it's not great in terms of physically trying to talk. So yeah. Anyways, the few times that I do go out with people and do things when, it's approaching that limit is the times I don't last long before I'm very, very tired. I called it full zombie on here when I wrote it, which is a very accurate description. So I'll give you an example. So last night, went out for supper with a group of friends that know really well, and I was starting to fall asleep at the table because I was so tired. So I ended up working a shift yesterday where I didn't get the breaks I truly need, actually. Like, it would almost be better if I could split my breaks up when I have a day like yesterday, but it just isn't possible because such short staffed. But anyways, not the point. So the point of this is that when I'm not getting adequate breaks, I do feel it more. And because I probably overdid it, actually, is what happened. But, you do the best you can in the situation that you're in, and that's all you can do. And I've said that many, many times before. And speaking of that, so last night, like I said, I was falling asleep. I fell asleep pretty quickly last night because I was very, very tired. But I was also I was like, ooh, I'm probably going to wake up at least a little bit sore tomorrow. And the place where I'm feeling it is not the place I thought I would feel. Like, I'm feeling it in my thighs, which is really strange. I usually feel like that, I usually feel sore in my legs if I've done too much walking, but not usually the thighs. So that's weird, but maybe it's because I've been doing some training with my bike and the fact that I do a lot of muscle work there. So if there's muscles that are going to be sore, it's probably going to be those. If I feel at all like I am too fatigued, I will not push it just to please an algorithm or people around me. So what that was referring to is the YouTube algorithm. I do videos when I want to, when I feel like it. I push out content in the way I want to, which is why my channel is growing slowly only and not pleasing the algorithm and trying to push out too much content. I am pretty consistent with the short content because I do that such ahead of time. So I'm able to make a bunch of short content at once and then slowly over time release it. So it's a little bit easier for me to stick with that in a more, consistent way. consistent manner. Speaking of short content, the thing I do want to say is that the short content may be put out a little bit later in the day than what it has been, because I think I'm gonna try and put that short content out at closer to the late afternoon and evening. I'm just wondering if it'll help with distribution of it a little bit better, because people tend to watch short content when they're home from their work or job or school and all of that. So I may end up pushing that later. Plus, I think it'll work better just with my schedule, because I'm always home pretty much by no later than 6 as of right now. And I'm not sure if that's really going to change all that much. Like, the very few times I might have to work till 7, I don't think is going to be something I'm going to be doing for a while. So, like, the latest I would be off of work is 7 o'clock. So, yeah. And anyways, and people around me just refers to, like, going out for events and stuff. Like, I'm more like, I will prioritize my health over anything. And as much as I want to be at some events and I want to be at, enjoying my social time, I have other ways of socializing that I learned by having chronic illness, which is mainly online. A lot of my friends actually don't live anywhere near me at this point. And, they're reaching to the point where it's family as well. Those of you who are familiar with that and know what that means will understand what I'm talking about with that. And I get a lot of good, nice social interaction as well when I'm at my job, because it is a customer service type position. Not as much as when I was on cash, but it's enough that it keeps me going. I'm very, very thankful to be as introverted as I am, because I don't need as much social interaction as some people to keep me happy. So that's a very nice thing as well. Anyways, that's essentially all I have written down, guys. I'm essentially very, very thankful to be in this position that I'm in right now. It is a very nice position to be in. It is also, I'm very thankful that this situation of overdoing it doesn't appear as much as what it used to be. This definitely still applies, though, even though I'm still dealing with, or not dealing with as much or as many problems as I used to. So I'm very thankful about that. I don't really think I have anything else that I want to talk about in this particular episode. I've been going for about 22 minutes now. So I think that's where I'm going to end it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. And I just got to find my one. Here we go. So I think I'm going to end it there for today, guys. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you're following me on social media and all of that. I'm not posting to social media very much. I even include my locals page with that. It's very, very difficult for me to post as much. Although I do want to say, if you guys kind of want to get to know me off of social media or all of that, and you want some more fun content, I do actually have a second TikTok account that I'll post like dances and really weird kind of memes to, which is Ashley Enjoys Music, all lowercase. So if you want to like have something that's a little bit more fun, maybe go to there. I'd never talk about migraines or IIH stuff on that channel. So yeah. As far as the other social media, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook and Twitter to watch the short videos that I put out. I am kind of bad though right now, because I am not feeling social media as much as what I used to. And when I am posting, it's nothing to do with my stuff. So yeah, I think that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next Sunday. I may also, just another thing, I may end up doing these in the morning from now on. So 11 a.m. would be the time I would do it in the future. If that's what I decide, I will let you guys know. I kind of like this actually, because this will give me this afternoon if I want to sit down and edit this for the podcast. And I may also end up start putting the fully edited version on Facebook. My Facebook is actually growing right now quickly, and it's because Facebook is pushing short content really, really hard. So the reels are getting people into the page, which may turn into people actually watching the longer content. I don't know though, because people who watch short content generally don't like longer content. And I say that because I'm pretty much the opposite. So I actually like watching live streams that are sometimes several hours long, and I'm not a fan of short content. I actually honestly hate watching it. I will watch it on TikTok because doing something for fun for my other TikTok channel is essentially like just me having a good time and, you know, making fun of myself and all of that, and it has nothing to do with migraines. But when it comes to actually making migraine content and talking about this particular part of my life, I like to make longer videos. So if the thing is though, is because I clip these, it does work out that people do get the information in a short form eventually, but it's just not something that I tend to focus on. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can find how to contact me via email on my link bio and all of that. And I'm really, really bad at checking that, so don't expect a reply right away. But that is one way to directly get in contact with me. I tend to not read my messages on any platforms, and it's because I get a lot of basically junk in there and fake bot accounts from other creators that I follow try to convince me that they're the actual creator when they're not. So there's that issue too. But yeah, if you guys want to, you can get in contact me with that way. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments and all of that lovely stuff. But as for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next Sunday. Bye everyone.